Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day guys and welcome to episode 68 of All the Gear But No Idea, hosted by yours truly, Diz and Rhodey. Good to be joined with you here again, my friend.
Always good, Diz.
Excellent. Love to hear the sound of a cracking a frothy, and we hope you are all too, unless of course you're doing something responsible, driving, operating a boat, those sorts of things.
Heavy machinery.
You might be on the tractor.
You could be a surgeon.
You could be a surgeon. And please don't be drinking if you're doing those sorts of things. Rhodey, let's move on from that brief...
Should we talk about a guest, Diz, before we keep moving?
Brief detour. We have, of course, got Rachel Weeks, project manager of OzFish. We're going to have a good chat with her about a number of things, but it is going to be focused around the Seeds for Snapper project, which we're really looking forward to having a chat about later on today.
Diz, I was an all-time hide and seeker as a kid, so I'm going to find out so many of them little seeds this summer.
You reckon you're a good hunter and gatherer?
Yeah, I'll gather them for them.
Very good. We look forward to that. Rhodey, let's get into our usual segment. Of course, we start with oranges and lemons. Why don't you kick us off with your orange?
Well, Diz, we did have a bit of a birthday shindig on the weekend, and some of the lads all chipped in and got me a little voucher to go on an overnight charter, Diz.
Yes.
So we're happy with that.
Very good.
We just got to work out the finer details of the location and timing, and
yes,
out of our group of mates, see how many actually want to come fishing overnight.
Yeah, we thought we'd provide you with a couple of options. Of course, you know, we've got some we have had some fantastic charter operators on our show, some of which do overnighters. You know, there's a few names that spring to mind. Of course, Gav Solly from Western River, Kangaroo Island, Yorks, a couple of others, Rhodey.
Yeah, they're probably the main ones that jump out at me, Diz. But yeah, the other option is to go interstate, but we'll put our thinking hats on and we'll do a night or two out in a boat somewhere.
Absolutely. All right, Rhodey. Well, my orange for the fortnight just gone has been getting onto some whiting, getting out on the briny.
It was a good little day out. What was that, 2 weekends ago with us two and your old man Davo?
Yes, Davo came out with us.
He caught a big one. He did talk it up as being, 55, 60, and I think it might have measured 48 at a stretch.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was a heck of a lot of carry on. It was a good fish.
It was a good fish.
Fat fish.
Yeah, it was. And then I came home with about 7 or 8 on the trot.
Here we go. That's rubbish.
So it was an okay day till I turned on a heater at the end.
It was a good day. We did. The weather was glorious. We were very fortunate with the weather, especially seeing as that we're going to roll into what is our lemon, Rhodey.
Oh, that's called the 2022 never-ending winter.
Yeah, I know.
We're like a week out from summer and it is bloody cold. I've never seen so much rain in a 5-minute bursts over the weekend.
Yes, well, you did mention your birthday shindig and the weather did a good job at trying to rain on your parade, so to speak, but we still had a lot of fun. We still got the lamb spit done.
We put that gazebo over the lamb spit at about the crucial moment.
Oh, there was, I reckon, 30 seconds we had.
And that fire was out.
30 seconds if we didn't have that gazebo up, or at least ready to go up, then we were not eating lamb for dinner.
Nah, we weren't, Diz. All right, what's your lemon?
Right, my lemon is there, and we will touch on this in the news, but look, I'm always a glass half full type of person, and I don't like to be the pessimist and worry and all that sort of stuff, but I must say with a few reports and things that have been coming out recently, I am starting to get a bit concerned that maybe we won't be fishing for snapper when we thought we might have. Rhodey, your thoughts?
Look, Diz, we'll touch on the report, but yes, it's not looking good. That's all I'm going to say. But who knows? You do hear from different people that are a bit more optimistic than others, so I'm not going to jump at any shadows just yet, but that probably leads us into our news, does it, Diz?
Yes, Rhodey, let's roll into the news, and of course, let's let you kick things off with the Sardi Snapper Stocks report.
Well, Diz, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we have shared the report so everyone can jump on and have a read, but PIRSA has released the Snapper Stock Assessment Report. It was released on their website. I wouldn't have said there was a lot of fanfare about the release of it. I stumbled upon it, I would say, rather than having it thrown in my face. They almost snuck it up on the website, I would have thought.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't well publicised.
And what about the other probably negative about the whole thing was these information sessions they ran around the state and gave people about 1 to 2 days notice.
Yeah, look, pretty disappointing that, I would have said.
And ran them during work hours?
Yeah. Look, I can almost understand that to a degree. I think some of them, certainly some of the popular, I think West Beach was like 4 till 5
on
or
a
something.
Thursday.
It's like that's hopeless.
I couldn't get there.
Nah.
I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Some of the other ones, like regional towns, I get it. If people were sort of travelling there, then maybe they're, doing it during work hours or whatever.
Yeah.
But the notice, they must have had that coordinated to just get the people, go to the venues, organise the venues, those sorts of things. They needed to give more notice to be able to allow people the time to organise their calendars and get there if they wanted to listen.
Yeah, it is. That was disappointing. And I suppose some of the content is a bit disappointing too. It is 193 pages, the document. I'm just getting to the halfway point now.
What are you, just tipping away 10 pages a night?
Look, I'm not a great reader, but I'm getting there.
You're probably falling asleep.
But I've certainly read the
50
highlights,
times.
and basically the main part of it is that both Spencer Golf and Golf of St Vincent are still listed as depleted, which doesn't sound positive to me. They are saying that the stocks haven't gone down, but they also haven't replenished like they had have hoped.
Yeah, and that is, like you say, that's probably the most. Look, clearly nobody's fault, but most disappointing about that report coming out. And I guess that's what's led to the most amount of concern from the rec community about what that means for them fishing for snapper. And also, as we've discussed from time to time, it concerns me a lot around if the ban gets extended, what that means for other species.
Exactly right, Diz. The whiting's getting hit. Everything else is getting hit. The tuna, you'd think are copping a lot more pressure.
Yeah. Because as much as, yes, sure, same dish, new fish, campaigns, this, that, and the rest of it.
Kingfish at Port Augusta, you think it doesn't help them?
People are still going out and smashing other species when they can, instead of going out and kind of spreading the love for one of them.
Even if you could catch one snapper, it would spread the love a bit.
Yeah, because people would go out, they'd focus on that. They might not come home with one, but they're still out there fishing, rah. So, it all makes sense. And I guess, look, what I would touch on as well just quickly about the report and some of those events surrounding that report is that kind of lack of clarity and communication to the community has led to a heck of a lot of conjecture, negativity, commercial versus rec. You see a heck of a lot on social media and these sorts of things without a lot of fact behind it, probably, would be fair to say, because clearly I think a lot of this stuff is, having discussions behind closed doors. So, that's tensing.
I think those discussions are going on behind closed doors. I know there's been some of the snapper management or authority, I think it is, the group that meets. It's not something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've been meeting, I think, with PIRSA and Sardi in the last week or so. So I think that's where it's moving towards next. Some sort of consultation with, your rec fish and your fishing tackle shops. And I think Ian Cliff's one of the representatives. And, similar people from the charter businesses and the commercial business. So I think they're all at a round table over the last couple of weeks or the coming weeks. And we will hopefully hear something as a result of that about what, I suppose, direction the minister's choosing to go next out of this report.
And I think, look, rec fish are as close as anybody to that.
Yeah.
So if you're not following them on Facebook, you need to, because I suspect as soon as they know anything, the rest of the sort of social media and their sort of base members and that sort of thing are going to hear straight away, because clearly they're our peak body. They're the ones closest to the decision makers and listening and learning from all that perspective. So get around that. And I suppose for now, Rhodey, this is just another case of watch and wait and see.
It is, Diz. And the only other thing to say on that, when we did go over to Yorks the other weekend, we caught, another couple of snapper?
Yeah, look, anecdotally,
Everyone's saying they're catching snapper. We were going for whiting and we caught snapper. Everyone's saying the same thing, that they seem to be catching more snapper as bycatch.
yeah.
And that can only make you question the research that's been done a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I think, maybe it's more talked about now that you're kind of getting a lot of snapper bycatch because it's banned and people are sort of this, that and the other. But like, there's no question, anecdotally, people are saying they're catching more snapper than they ever have, especially on grounds where they wouldn't have considered it being snapper grounds, because obviously these people aren't going out and targeting snapper. They're targeting other things like whiting or might be nannies or whatever it is, and they're getting a lot of snapper.
Yeah, exactly right, Diz.
Righty, let's move on from that because, as we said, it is a watch and wait and see. But it was interesting to note, to actually see that report come out, because we said if you get something before Christmas, then you're probably looking to have a pretty decent decision before the before the end of the year, early January. Yeah. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Righty, in other news, there has been quite a few shark sightings, and I'm, again, a personal believer that you see more of this because of the social media attention that these types of things create. But there's been some amazing footage of some sharks chasing kingies around a Port Augusta kayak.
Yeah, that was cool footage, wasn't it? That'd be scary.
Very scary. I wouldn't want to be on a kayak.
Nah,
I wouldn't have even wanted to be in our old boat and seen a big great white.
Yeah, a little 4 metre tinny would make you nervous too. So that was over at Port Augusta, Diz. And another cool bit of footage was that mako shark off New South Wales, I think it was, that jumped on the top of the Stavey.
Yeah, unreal footage. And
they're amazing animals, the mako, aren't they?
I was going to say, makos, when you get them, you're going to be in for a fight. You're going to hope that you get a jump out of them. I'm not sure you're going to hope that you get a jump that it lands on the front of your boat, especially one that size.
Better on the front of the boat than the back of the boat.
True, but it was a big shark too. Yeah, exactly, it wasn't just a small, flighty mako. It was a beast.
All right, Diz, let's keep it moving. And this next one's to do with the floods again. Not the floods, but the storms.
Yeah, storms have been wreaking some havoc, Rhodey. St Kilda breakwater this time, people out there rock fishing stranded.
Yeah, I think it was the Sunday morning after that Saturday when it was really ugly, and I think just after 7:30, 9 blokes got rescued. And it was rising tides and strong winds trapped them out the end of the breakwater. I think at 40 minutes later, the alarm was raised after rising tides threatened to engulf the group. So they got rescued, and I think all ended well.
Last Saturday was one of the wildest weather events, certainly in my living memory, and I know there's been some people that have been older than me that have said the same thing. Not sure you'd want to be sitting out there holding a few conductors, flicking some lures around in one of the biggest storms we've seen in the state.
Yeah, and it's also saying here that a couple of them were in shorts and a T-shirt while others were in waders. That's also not great.
Oh, yeah, you don't recommend waders for
And it says
fishing.
here, we rang the water police. There's a quote from one of the blokes called, I think, Mr. Cook. We rang the water police and 15 cops and a couple of ambulances turned up. They bought a rubber duck and went out and got him.
15 cops? Not a police. Suppose they probably weren't aware of what they were getting themselves into.
Actually, sorry, Mr. Cook runs the tackle shop. That's where the quote was coming from. And they made him a nice cup of coffee when they got back in, which was good of them.
Oh, very good of them indeed.
And they were checked out for hypothermia, but all clear.
All right, well, all's well that ends well. Probably a good reminder that if there's a big storm brewing, maybe don't go out fishing on the breakwater.
Yeah, smart.
Thoughts?
Good.
Okay, Rhodey, let's move on to the Onka Stomper. This one really does excite you every year. Millsy, what a bloke. Far out.
So he's had 180 registered fishers, including, which this is great, 51 kids getting involved.
Yep, and we're going to touch on that a bit more because there's some people across the state doing some amazing things for junior anglers. But the Onka Stomper every year raises an absolutely amazing amount of money for something that's like a local initiative, an iconic event really for recreational fishing in the state, obviously called the Onka Stomper. And Millsy and his team does an amazing job rallying everybody, raising over 50 grand again, $51,613.50 for childhood cancer, Rhodey.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that takes their total over 340 grand. That's a lot of money for something that's, run just with a couple of blokes, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Millsy pours his heart and soul into it. He's a great operator. He does a fantastic job down there. Like I say, it's an iconic event. He has some wonderful supporters. We see all the regular guests that we've had, Brody, get involved in these types of things.
Yeah, we do, Diz. And
the list too long to even bother naming.
Exactly right, Diz. And we'll just quickly touch on the some of the fish that were caught. So Luke Willis was the Onkostompa champion with the biggest brim at 44 centimetres.
Good fish.
This is impressive. Biggest mulloway went to Sully Nash, who's age 9, at 67 centimetres.
Levi's son? Question mark?
I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Can we get that confirmed, please, Levi?
Biggest other fish was a mullet at 36 centimetres. And yeah, plenty of other fish caught. So a successful day all around is fish caught, money raised.
Yep, fantastic day out had by all. And what I could very confidently say as well is that those junior anglers who got on what is a spectacular boat.
Yeah, this was at the Udunda show we're talking about, Diz?
Yes, sorry, we've moved on now.
Yeah, I think we've moved off the Onkostompa.
Sorry, my apologies. We have moved off from the Onkostompa, but of course we're moving on now to the Reeling In Junior Anglers boat launch, Rhodey. Tell us.
So Lee Van Soos, she obviously wasn't able to be there on the day, but her team of helpers took the boat out to the Udunda show, and it's got a fishing simulator in it, Diz. So that was available for kids to jump on and try their hand at catching a simulated massive fish. I saw one of them was battling, I think, a mahi-mahi.
Yeah, there was some mahi-mahi getting around.
So, so it's like a fish simulator. It's got the screen set up by the looks. It's got a game chair. It's pretty bloody cool, really, isn't it?
The boat is cool. It's wrapped, looks schmick, looks the part. They've done a fantastic job doing it all up. Part of me feels like that's a bit of a labour of love for some of those people. I'm sure they've put in some serious hours for what's obviously a great cause, but you kind of you're living out, just tinkering and playing with boats is everyone loves doing that stuff.
Yeah, and Diz, I'm looking at the photos here and there's some little kids getting involved, some bigger kids, they're all getting involved, boys and girls. So a big shout out to Lee and her team. I know her son helped with the technology. I think her husband did the driving and got it out there. And then she had a team of volunteers to sort of run it on the day. So congratulations to all involved. And just, I suppose, another great project from the Reeling In Junior Anglers crew.
Yep, we love keeping up to speed with what they're getting up to because it's always exciting and interesting, and we know the juniors are loving it, Rhodey. What else have we got? It would be remiss of us not to talk about what's happening in the resis, Rhodey.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, Diz. So they're doing a comprehensive fish population study in the Warren Reservoir, and the reason for this is there's a proposed upgrade of the dam's intake and scour valves planned for next year. So what that involves is they're going to have to temporarily lower the Warren's water level, which is required to get these valves up to sort of standard of what they need to be at. And they've got to figure out basically how many native fish are in there or how many native fish they think are in there, and then how they're going to safely relocate them to the nearby South Parrot Reservoir. So this is sort of the the start of the journey, I suppose.
Very interesting project, Rhodey.
And yeah, like these valuable native fish, including Murray cod, silver perch, and golden perch, need to be relocated before we lower the reservoir to near zero capacity. So it's basically going to be emptied. Okay. And so they're using both rod and reel and electro fishing technology to do a bit of a survey now just to see, I suppose, how big the project's going to be.
Yeah, interesting.
And it does also mention here they're going to take the opportunity to remove noxious species such as carp and redfin and kindly provide them to fish markets or fertiliser suppliers.
Oh, geez.
So that's a win-win, Diz.
Your inland whiting would be sort of hovering around the outside if you're interested in a feed of reddies.
Yeah, if they're going into fertiliser, I'll put them on my tomatoes. Much better than carp, surely.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, Rhodey, we've got one more story before we wrap up the news segment.
This is a nice local story, Diz.
Of course, before we get into... Just wait for it. I'm going to pair it back to the local. Before we get Rachel on the line, Rhodey, of course, we're keen to have a chat with her about seeds for snapper, but this is a very notable catch coming out of France. A 30-kilogram goldfish caught, Rhodey.
I caught one that big in the Torrens once.
No, you didn't. 30 kilos. That is enormous. And gosh, I wish we could show a photo of this thing because it is massive. And of course, you do make a good point that people have caught goldfish in the Torrens here in Adelaide, and they're always an exciting catch when you might be just throwing out some corn or some bread for a carp and you reel in a big goldfish to show off on the socials or your mates or whatever it might be. But this one has got it's massive. You wonder whether that's been flushed down a toilet and grown from there.
It's a big fish to go down a toilet.
It is. Righto, Rody, that's a good little news story to wrap up for today. But I think now it's about time. Let's get Rachel on the line. Righto, Rody, very glad to be joined by Rachel Weeks now, Project Manager with OzFish, and been doing an amazing amount of work with Seeds for Snapper. It's great to have you on the show, Rachel. How are you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you, Rachel, and we're really looking forward to talking about this Seeds for Snapper project that we see a lot of on Facebook, and it's coming up to that time of year. But we're going to get started with our 5 questions if you're happy with that.
Sure.
So can you tell us about your best fish?
I would have to say my best fish was probably when my husband and I were on Dew Island, which is an island in the middle of Bass Strait. We did a caretaking role there for 3 months, and it happened to be during the middle of COVID, so we found ourselves very isolated. But we caught our one and only fish despite taking lots of fishing gear over there, which was a flathead off the beach, and that was a very delicious meal indeed, our only fresh fish for the 3 months we were there.
Hard-earned by the sounds.
It was hard earned. We expected the fishing to be very good, but when we spent some time on Flinders Island before we travelled out to Dew Island, we were told by all the locals that the fishing on Dew Island from the beach wasn't so great, and we learned that was true.
The flathead's got to be one of the best eating though, so that would have tasted very sweet when you did catch it.
Absolutely. It was a very nice meal that night. We had a nice barbecue down at the beach.
And you'd really want to do a good job of filleting it and get every little morsel off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, exactly. My husband's very good at that. He spent quite a bit of time in commercial fishing. So.
Perfect. There you go. Rachel, tell us your favourite thing about fishing.
It would have to be just being out in nature for me, or being out in the boat. Definitely would be my favourite thing about fishing.
Yes, we all love getting out on the boat and getting on the ocean. So what's your first fishing memory, or what got you into it?
My first fishing memory is probably growing up down in Goolwa and spending time at the Coorong. We had some, my really good friend had uncles that had the shacks down by the mouth there.
Yep.
And so we used to spend lots of time down there fishing for mullet. And that's probably definitely my first fishing experience, and probably one of my favourite memories as a kid.
Yeah, it's a great part down there. We've launched our boat down there a few times at Mundu Channel down there and explored. It's a lovely part of the world. You can certainly check a fair bit of stuff out down there, lots of nature and wildlife and all the rest of it.
Oh, absolutely. And we always felt really privileged to have, like, those shacks felt so exclusive as a child. It was great.
Absolutely. All right, Rachel, what's your favourite sort of fishing that you get up to and why?
Probably we've got really good mates that have got a shack over at Streaky Bay, and we head over there a couple of times a year and just head out in the boat, and that's probably my favourite sort of fishing, is just spending time with friends out in the boat and dropping a line in and seeing what we can catch.
Yeah, we did a trip over to Streaky Bay about 12 months ago, I reckon, Diz, didn't we? And we loved it. It's a beautiful part of the world, and we did all right on the fish, so I'm sure if you've been there a few times, you would have caught a lot more than us.
That's a great part of the world for sure.
Oh, it is. Just so you're very isolated. Oh, well, shouldn't say very isolated over there, but you do feel away from it all, and the Eyre Peninsula is lovely. There's just so many beaches and different places to explore. You could spend months there.
Yeah, I reckon that's what's great about the EP, is that it does take so long to get there, so it does have that feeling of isolation. Like, not everybody is going there all the time. The beaches are never crowded, and it's amazing the beaches that you can find that are totally empty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Rachel, last one. Have you got a funny fishing story, or tell us about the one that got away?
Yeah, my friend will kill me for this, but probably
We like this.
Yeah.
My funniest fishing story is when my friend Joel and I decided to go squidding at Rapid Bay Jetty, and her husband gave us strict instructions to make sure that we removed the cap from the squid jig.
Oh,
And
no.
after a couple of hours of fishing with no catch, we pulled up the line and saw that the cap was in fact still on the squid jig.
That's great.
Oh, God, that's excellent. They're really handy, those caps, but certainly not if you're trying to catch them.
Yeah, no, not at all.
All right, Rachel, well, thank you very much for answering our 5 questions we do for all of our guests. That's been really good, and we're keen now to get into all the types of things you get up to as project manager for OzFish, but I probably guess we'll start with the specific project, which is Seeds for Snapper. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're just starting our Seeds for Snapper for this year. So the project's been running for a couple of years now. Was the catalyst to bring it in was Michael Serp, who was in the role before I was. And it's really about just getting recreational anglers and I guess the community involved in trying to restore seagrass. So we've lost around about 6,000 hectares of seagrass around the Adelaide metro beaches. And they're like a nursery ground, I guess, for things like snapper, but also squid and other fish species. And I guess it's all about just trying to engage anglers and the community into doing something a little bit proactive about trying to increase the stocks of those species that we all like to fish for.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, we love what you're doing, Rachel, and it's been going for a little while. Is it sort of a growing project at the moment?
Yeah, it is. So we're into our 3rd year in the Metro project, and we've actually just got some funding to expand into the southern Fleurieu. So we're going to be doing a similar project down around Encounter Bay this year, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and you said did you say 6,000 hectares?
Yes.
Yeah,
yep,
so
along the Metro beach.
Yeah,
Yep.
what's there currently? So we've lost 6,000 hectares. What's remaining?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I'm not really sure, to be honest, what the actual hectares remaining are. But if you can sort of get online and look at historical maps, you can really see how it's retreated back from the shoreline, and that's sort of where the problem lies. So it's mainly from historical outfalls and stormwater outflows and things like that have gone into the water and caused sort of a bit of water pollution, I guess, that has meant that the seagrass can't really get the light that it needs to grow.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it's excellent news that it's continuing to expand and grow across the state because, certainly all of that, fostering those, juvenile fish and being able to breed up and that type of thing in those sort of secure, sheltered bays is really important, obviously. So we love the work that you're getting up to there. Can you tell us about the sort of seaweed and the seeds and that sort of thing that you're after and the sort of day-to-day projects, I guess, that you get up to?
Yeah, so for the seeds for snapper, it's about the Posidonia seeds. So they wash up around about Christmas time, they say, but I've just had a look on our Facebook page. We've got a Seeds for Snapper SA Volunteers Facebook page, and people are already posting photos of seeds they've collected today. So they wash up just over a couple of weeks of the year, and we get volunteers to bring them into some tanks that we've got set up at the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia, and that's where we put them in just to keep them going and wait for they release a little seedling, and then we collect the seedling and again get a whole heap of volunteers to come and stow them into sandbags for us, and then we take them out in boats and drop them into the places where we've been told by people like the Environmental Protection Authority and SARDI where it's really needed, and the spots where they'll have the most chance of success of growing. And so we take them out with volunteers in their boats, so a nice day out on the water, and drop the sandbags out there.
Yeah, it's a great process that you go through, and we've sort of followed it online and on Facebook in the past, and I have been a member of that group, so I have seen the last couple of days a few people posting their seeds, and we're certainly going to get involved this year, Diz, and collect a few. Can anyone get involved and just rock up with a bag of seaweed seeds?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can. We do try to get people to either join the Facebook group or register as a volunteer. And really, it's only just so we can communicate with them, because we've got a really good Facebook community, as you've seen, that posts those photos on Facebook. And it's just the best way of letting people know, hey, there's seeds at Largs Bay today. Head down there and grab them, and there'll be someone at the tanks ready to take them for you. So it's I guess, the communication when you're dealing with sort of 400 volunteers is the most difficult bit. And so by getting people to register or follow the Facebook page, it just means we can get that message out, because it needs to be really timely on the day, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't, we can't say on the 15th it's at this spot, because we're just at the hands of nature, I guess.
And I guess also you can't sort of just be like, oh, I'll get down there sometime next week, because, by the time the tide's sort of gone in and out a few times, I imagine the seeds would dry out. Is that right? They need to sort of be collected quite soon after they're sort of being washed up?
Yeah, definitely. The fresher, the better, for sure. I mean, people can put them in buckets and keep them cool. And if they're in buckets of water, that's fine. But the sooner they're in the tanks, the better chance they've got of turning into a seagrass meadow, I guess.
Yeah, and is there, so we're looking here just on the Seeds for Snapper website, they're just those little green seeds you see, the little seed capsule type things, aren't they?
Yep,
is that the best way for people to find out what they're looking for? Jump on your website and have a look?
Yeah, so they're about the size of a 5-cent coin. They're shaped like a banana, and they're really bright green when they're viable. But yeah, if you go onto the Facebook site or even the OzFish website, you'll see photos of them there.
Fantastic, Rachel. And like you said as well, it's a good day out. I mean, a lot of people are sort of walking up and down these metro beaches. Often they might, have that as their regular weekend activity. And I suppose this is just a great way to get the family outdoors, do a bit of that. And then, like you say, if you've got a boat and you're out there for the day, great down the water, meet some new people, all that sort of thing. It's a great way to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. We don't want to make it a chore. We're not asking volunteers to, go down at 7 o'clock every morning and check for seeds. Yeah. We just want them to opportunistically, and that's where the communication is really important, just to opportunistically collect seed if they're down at the beach, and then bring them to us, or look on the Facebook site, because there might be people on the Facebook site that say, I'm at West Beach Boat Ramp collecting seeds, bring them to me, and then they might bring them down. So it's actually become a really good community of people that are all getting involved and all helping each other and making sure the project works. And without that community, there's no way that we could run this project.
Yeah, look, social media cops a lot of flack at times, but it can be amazing for projects like this in terms of communication and this community that you've made. So congratulations on that. I think that's been a really good part of it.
Oh, yeah, it's that instant communication that is great, and everybody contributing to the Facebook page definitely is important.
Fantastic, Rachel. We did want to ask also, you mentioned earlier about how you can sort of tell from historical maps and these sorts of things about the sort of seabeds that have been depleted over time. Yep. Is there ways that people can be tracking that growth? Or you mentioned, peak bodies like Sardi, PIRSA, those sorts of things. Are they tracking the sort of regrowth after these projects that have been implemented?
Yeah, those guys have a lot of monitoring projects going on, and that's one of the things that we do when we choose our sites, is to make sure that we're not impacting upon their monitoring sites.
Yeah.
So we work pretty closely with them to make sure that when we put the seed bags out, we're not putting them on the spots where they're monitoring that seagrass decline or improvement. So, there's definitely lots of projects going on all around Australia to see that improvement, because a lot of the reasons that the seagrass did decline have now been addressed. So those guys are really doing a good job at seeing how well the seagrass is coming back now that those reasons have been addressed.
Yeah, and can you track the sort of success that you have from previous years? Can you go down and dive on the sort of sandbags that had the seeds in them and see how they're growing? Is that something you do?
Yeah, a lot of the monitoring we're doing at the moment is just by sending divers down and having a look and seeing what's happening in the bags. Yep. And we're finding that not only are the seeds that we've planted are growing, but also we're getting other species that hook onto the bags. So those bags become, even just the hessian itself becomes a really good substrate for some other seagrass species to grab onto when they're floating around on the ocean floor trying to find something to anchor to. So we're getting lots of good photos back. So we're trying to post those on the Facebook site and also on our website. But, yeah, we'll definitely be putting reports out so people can see the progress of the project as we move forward. But seagrass is pretty slow to grow too. That's the other thing.
Yes,
so
fair enough.
A year in the life of a seagrass, you're not going to see a lot.
Yeah.
But 5 years down the track, hopefully, that's when we'll start seeing some really good results.
Yeah, and you talked about the snapper and the squid, and I see your website mentions the calamari, the whiting, and the blue swimmer crabs living in the nursery that the seagrass meadows produce. Did seeds for snapper, did that just have the best ring to it, or is that the main species that live there, or why was that the name?
I think one of the main reasons probably is because we're really trying to engage fishers, obviously, and recreational anglers. And I guess snapper's just that iconic species, which has obviously got the ban on it at the moment. And it's really just about sort of sending that message saying, hey, I know we're all probably upset that there's a bit of a ban at the moment, but let's be a bit proactive about it and try to find a way to secure the species into the future. So, yeah, that's sort of where it came from.
Excellent, Rachel. And my goodness, there's been a lot of talk about the snapper ban, certainly recently, hasn't there? And do you have some thoughts on that? Have you got an inside scoop for us? Maybe you've heard from someone.
I don't. I have been to a few talks lately, and where I've seen some really good presentations on why it's been banned, and it is pretty logical. But I don't really have any insights to that I can share. I don't think.
We're fishing with all our guests for any sort of scoop.
We're looking for something really controversial, like it's banned for another 5 years.
That's a good question for Recfish SA or Sardi. Sardi are the guys. They're really doing the research on that, and I think they inform a lot of the reasons behind it. And they're actually all very logical, I think. But there's a lot of science behind it. It's not.
No, all good. Well, hopefully the work you're doing does help to shore up the snapper and the other populations of fish into the future.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, and that's been a great chat about seeds for snapper. We did want to quickly touch on any other OzFish projects you've got going on at the moment or upcoming.
Yeah, we've got a few chapters that have been doing some really great things. So the Barossa Mid-North chapter, I know that you've spoke to Shamo before on the podcast.
Yeah.
So he's the president of our Barossa Mid-North chapter, and they've just done a really cool snag project in the Warren Reservoir. So it put out 6 really big snags out there for the native fish that have been stocked there. And the Yonkapringa guys are doing some really good things as well with snags and underwater cameras and monitoring the fish that are in the Yonkapringa, as well as the Coorong guys are doing a lot of fish monitoring as well. And they are also really heavily involved in a big beach cleanup, which they do in March over the long weekend. So, I've only been in the job since June, but it's pretty amazing to see all these guys that put in so much of their time into really worthwhile projects.
Fantastic, Rachel. And we thank you and everybody else for all the work that you're doing for the Recfish, and the sort of, Mother Nature, I guess, like you say, cleaning up all of those projects go a long way to making sure that what we're doing is sustainable for both here and the future. And one question for you as well is, before we let you go, people, best way to get involved, jump on the OzFish website. Based on their locality, they can get involved in projects you've just mentioned. Is that the best way?
Yeah, absolutely. Jump on the OzFish website, sign up for Seeds for Snapper, or start a chapter. That's probably the best thing to do. Is if there's an area that you love fishing, and you can see things that would improve the fishing and the habitat and the environment, start a chapter, get a group of mates together and get some projects going, because it's those guys that really drive some of those projects. And, we can get money, go for funding or get some internal money and do some really good things to improve the fishing.
Yes, beautiful. Well, we love your work, Rachel. We will be following the Seeds for Snapper, and we're going to do our best to collect as many little seeds as we can over the coming months. So you might see us down there dropping them off.
That'd be great. Hit me up and I'll give you an OzFish shirt so that you can be seen.
All right. Thanks for your time, Rachel. Thanks for teaching us a lot.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Rachel.
Bye.
See ya.
Cheers. Bye.
It is excellent to hear from Rachel. That was a very informative chat, and hopefully we've inspired a few of you to go along and pick up some seeds.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I was saying, I guess it's really just one of those activities that if your regular Sunday morning thing is to sort of walk down West Beach, for example, and you happen to be like, oh, wow, they're the seeds they're talking about. Collect them, take them down. Great initiative if you're interested in recreational fishing and the environment more generally. So,
Mum and Dad do a little beach walk with the dog often on a weekend. I might pack a bucket in the car for them.
I would. I'd be getting Pete and Robsy onto it for sure. Rhodey, let's move into our report because there's a few things. Certainly not going to say it's the biggest fishing report we've ever had. We're just going to take some of the notable items.
Mate, the weather hasn't exactly helped us.
The weather certainly hasn't, but we can't do anything about it. Black Point, Rhodey, we went over there, we fished, we conquered.
We didn't bag out, but we did pretty well.
We did all right. We got a good feed. And like we were saying earlier, a couple of big fish, good sized fish. And that kind of went on to that late winter whiting type of commentary that we've had on this show in the past.
Yeah. Certainly a couple of them were very big for that area.
Yeah.
We're not talking Marion Bay where there's often big ones.
No. We're not talking like 55s, 60s.
Nah, but they were certainly pushing 50, a couple of them, and that's a good fish for that sort of area, I reckon.
Absolutely. Rhodey.
And I suppose the best part about that day out was your old man put the boat in, cleaned the boat, did the whole lot. And actually, the unsung hero was Dyer cooking us breakfast.
Yeah, it's pretty handy rocking up, just getting breakfast, coffee, jumping on the boat, going out, getting back, jumping in the car, going home.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon of Davo fully retiring.
I think the sooner it happens, the better. Anyway, good fun, good weekend had by all. Rhodey, let's talk now about something that we hope we always talk about this a lot this time of year, but it can't be long before the tuna rock up, can it?
I certainly haven't seen any reports, but it's got to be close.
Anybody got a sort of water temp reading?
No, I haven't done that research myself. The other thing to keep an eye on is when they rock up over on the Eyre Peninsula, because often that's sort of a bit of a predictor, isn't it?
Yes, well, that's certainly what usually happens. But they do, they change their patterns year on year, and it's an interesting one to keep our eyes out. But it is normally this time of year that you'll start seeing them. We have had very unusual weather though,
and we're getting over to KI in a couple of weeks, so I bloody hope they're here by then.
Yes, I know that would be nice if you could stumble across a good patch over there
on the north coast, Stokes Bay. We've seen them out the front of the house before.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What would this be? 5th trip?
Yeah, something like that. Down to between
4th
Stokes
or
and
5th?
Snellings, and we have seen them, 500 metres off the front deck, which if you can get them there, pretty happy.
Oh, yeah, goodness gracious.
But this is a lot earlier than we've been in the past.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I'd be lucky to get them this time.
Anyway, we'll see what happens, Diz. What about the kingies?
Well, kingies, they've probably not been as... I've not seen a lot of photos and a lot of reports of people getting heaps.
Do you think people are wising up and keeping photos of themselves a bit?
Maybe, but is it the weather again?
Oh, I don't know, mate. Another year we've talked about going to Portugal and we haven't done it.
I don't want to sound like a sort of weather, freak, but it could be. It could just be changing the patterns.
And talking about kingfish, Diz, we need to book this Streaky Bay trip.
Yeah, I know. Gosh, goodness me. That would be that's certainly one that we should keep in the radar because, as we heard earlier, Rachel's a fan of that part of the world and we've had a great trip there before. Rhodey, let's move on to the Onca Stomper we talked a bit earlier about before, the good catches, but that's always worthwhile including in the report when they have it because they catch a lot of fish at that event.
Well, I suppose you've got 180 anglers, you're going to pull something out, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. But some good bream, some good mullies, mullet, good stuff, hey?
Yeah, no, it's and obviously we touched on the fundraising side of things and that's the main part probably, and whatever you catch is a bonus.
Absolutely. Rhodey, blue swimmer crabs, I'm hearing they're starting to thicken up a bit.
Yeah, someone was telling me that. I can't remember who, but they're appearing in some reasonable numbers now, both on Yorks and Metro, I think.
Easily getting a good feed of them, I think. We're talking 2s, 3s in the pots, which is always a good sign that they're starting to crawl and getting in there.
There's nothing like they're thick and you go full speed crabbing and just pull the pots all the time.
Oh, yeah.
No waiting, just go.
Nothing better. I couldn't agree more. And one last notable story for you out of the report, Rhodey, is a friend of the show, Gav KI, bloody good Samson fish.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good. They call them trucks of the ocean.
Oh, they pull some string.
Pull some string.
Not that I would call one, but so I hear.
Yeah. No, we'd love to get onto a couple of big sambos.
Right,
Righto,
the
Rhodey?
tackle report is?
Yeah, few good little juicy ones in there.
Yeah, it is. Bit of a few nuggets of goodness.
Excellent. Rhodey, let's move on to the tackle item before we wrap up today's episode. What have you got for us?
Diz, I'm not actually sure this is the official name. We're going to call it Dan's D Hooker from the Fishing Guru.
Yes.
And he showed us this at the boat show, Diz.
He did. It was very kind of him. He gave us one for a bit of a sort of a test.
Yeah, and it's what would you say? It's a wooden handle with a wire apparatus that you stick into the fish's mouth.
Yep.
And it's got like an S bend on the end of it, I suppose you'd say.
Yep.
And the idea behind that is to get a hook out of a mouth of, let's say, a flathead or a nanagai. What do you got to do? You've either got to pull it, so one end of the S can pull, or you got to push it, so the other end of the S can push. So it covers all bases.
Yeah, it's a very multifunctional and diverse piece of equipment that Dan's come up with.
It is, Diz. So if you want one, I'd jump on Facebook and hit up the Fishing Guru.
Yep, for sure.
Or head down to Chrissy's Beach.
Yeah, that'd be stocked there for sure.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. So that's your options, I reckon, guys. And look, we haven't tested it out.
No, we haven't. But
we only went whiting fishing.
It makes perfect sense.
I reckon it'd be really good on a nanagai, Diz.
Yeah, and I think like some of those fish, so let's just throw out a hypothetical situation here. You are on a nanny drop.
Yeah.
And you catch a whiting.
Yeah.
You catch a big snapper.
Yeah.
And it's sort of engulfed it a bit.
Yeah.
Well, you want to be able to get a D-hooker in there nice and quick so you can get that hook out.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you're going to hook up your release weight.
Your savage tackle release weight.
And you're going to drop it straight down and get it back into where it needs to be.
And that helps the snapper bounce
You're going to
back.
give the snapper the best chance. But nothing worse than them when sometimes they really do inhale it and you can't quite get the hook out fast enough.
And you're on a school, you want to make hay while the sun's shining.
Yeah. So look, useful piece of kit to have on your boat or in your tackle bag, Rhodey. All
right, Diz, that's it's getting towards the end of the show.
Where can the listeners find us?
Diz, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music. You can catch us on the Buzzsprout website direct.
Yeah.
And as always, we want to see your fish. Hit us up on Instagram, hit us up on Facebook. Send us some pictures of your mates catching fish or losing fish or stuffing something up.
Yeah, and we're getting closer to sort of people starting to, I'm having a few weeks off here and going to do some fishing and hopefully the weather plays the game. That's the perfect time to just get amongst it. Get out there, get a few photos.
And we're getting close to our big
us.
Christmas photo comp again, Diz. We're doing a photo comp or what are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing a comp.
We're doing a comp.
We've got
some prizes coming in. This one's going to be seriously good.
Oh, a comp and a half.
There's going to be some prizes. You're going to want to get your hands on them.
Comp.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you tonight. Thanks a lot for Rachel for coming on from OzFish. Get behind seeds for snapper and hope you get out in the water soon, guys.
Yep, enjoy, guys. Good episode, Rhodey.
See you guys.
See ya.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.